Alongside Rob Lewis, I'm Austin Price, kicking off VolQuest positional previews for 2022. Big fall for Josh Heupel and company, and we'll start it off with quarterback. Rob, for so many years there was uncertainty or a queasiness about the position, even last year, because you didn't know who was going to be the guy, how it was going to play out with Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker. Then Hendon Hooker asserted himself, and you head into this season with so much stability at that position.
It's such a luxury, and Tennessee fans appreciate that as much as any group of fans in college football because of what they've been through since the moment Josh Dobbs walked off this campus.
Sure.
It's been a long, hard road, and Hendon Hooker was just, I mean, frankly, he was fabulous last year. He was one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country by any metric.
A lot of people are projecting him to take a huge leap in year 2, though. So how does he take a leap?
How does he take a leap? He threw for almost 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, completed 68% of his passes, and most impressive of all to me with those other numbers, 3 interceptions.
He took care of the football.
While averaging almost 10 yards per attempt, which, I mean, they're pushing it down the field. He had 4 touchdowns of 70-plus yards. So those things don't often go hand in hand, that small of a number of interceptions and the productivity.
I tell you what I liked is he only got better and more comfortable as the season went along. But you could see that he feels like this is his team. I mean, he's a different kind of leader. He's not a fiery guy. He's more of a lead by example guy. But he clearly feels like this is his team. He and Cedric Tillman on the offensive side of the ball. And then you look at Joe Milton. A guy's got a lot of experience. I know he had the overthrows last year. I get it. But at the same time, most people don't have a really solid number 2 that you feel like, okay, he can go in and make plays, steady the ship. Is he going to be perfect? No, but one would think that a year later, he's grown some in this offense and as a player.
Underappreciated commodity to have a backup with some experience. And yeah, I mean, you can expect a drop off, but I mean, man, you had to go back quite a ways probably before you saw where Tennessee was in that good of a position when you talked about the backup position with somebody that, as you said, could at least come in and you feel like you could keep things going. And I want to go back to a point you mentioned about Hooker feeling like it was his team. I think just as importantly, I think his teammates feel like it's his team.
Sure. Yeah, and a year ago that wasn't the case. There was I don't think there was a divide on who was the starter because I talked to too many people that said Joe Milton was the better guy in fall camp. But what you couldn't account for was no contact jerseys and what Hendon Hooker can bring to the table with the ability to elude. He's not Dobbs, but he still has enough wiggle and can make enough plays with his legs that other teams have to respect it. And I would venture to say Tennessee will probably try to use him more in certain situations in the running game this fall.
I agree, and that's always, if you're a coach, when you've got a guy as talented as Hooker with the ball in his hands outside the pocket, it's always kind of, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you're worried about injury. But if you don't throw him out there and use his legs, you're also kind of handcuffing yourself and hiding your candle under a bushel tree.
We've talked about the top 2. Let's talk about Tavin Jackson. True freshman from Indianapolis. Kid's got some moxie to him. Got a lot of praise coming out of spring. Would expect more in fall camp. Don't expect him to play this fall unless it's just some blowout situation. But at the same time, nice to have another solid quarterback on campus.
I think we can all agree. And what we saw in spring, and it was limited, don't get me wrong, and controlled. I mean, it wasn't like we saw full contact 11-on-11 work where he was worried about getting hit. But I think Tennessee's got a lot to work with there. And what coaches seemed to really like was his command as a guy who should have been, going to his high school prom, came in and was a serious guy when it came to getting his work done.
That's a look at the quarterback position. We'll head running backs tomorrow. He's Rob Lewis. I'm Austin Price.